Coga Joe's back. I'm back. Hi, sir.
How you doing, my man? It's
I'm
been a
good.
minute. It's been a minute, hasn't it?
It has been a minute. This fight card is bananas.
It is. I'm trying to find the volume so I can hear you better. It's been a work in progress. It's funny how we started the year, boom, 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 three shows, 6 weeks apart, and then we're kind of ending the year the same way, two shows, 2 weeks apart,
Yep.
and then a
And
one month after that, back at Tulalip, January 11th. We might get into that a little bit later.
we got a lot of new guys on this card, names I haven't heard.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with Zero Sum Martial Arts. It's been a while since we've been back at Silver Reef too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
with March, so we're used to, and I kind of strategically pick certain gyms that are close, obviously, to Ferndale and Bellingham area. We're working with Zero Sum Martial Arts and Kaiju Kickboxing, and then we got the West Coast Fight Club, Free Wind MMA, Moses Lake. That's a new one. Karma Combat is kind of team synergy. I don't know what they call themselves down there. Fight Quest, Karma, Synergy. They're all down there in Auburn.
Oh yeah,
That's
Chance
marvelous.
Paul's gym.
Who?
Down at Chance Frere Paul. Chance Paul Frere. How do you say it? I can't remember. But yeah, he fights out of that gym. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And then we got Impact BJJ. They were at Tulalip at the beginning of the year. That was that great fight, Scrappy Sean versus Ivan's kid, Saeed.
Yeah.
And Jordan Curry from Arlington Kickboxing in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Um, so yeah, some new, some old. We got Diaz Combat, of course. We got Royal, 10 Kicks. I haven't worked with them since the summer show last a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I guess, at Tulalip. But yeah, we got a mix of some new guys.
This the first fight, Joseph, how do you say his last name?
Joseph Bucksco,
What
Andrew
say
Jeffries,
CIA what?
Palista.
What is that?
I don't know. I do not know even what it is. I don't know. I should know because it sounds Hispanic, but I don't know. And I don't know that it is Hispanic. It just sounds Hispanic.
That's totally fair.
But that's coached by a guy named Jason Temple over in Omak, Washington. He's been around a long time, like me. Um, he's just got a small group of tough knuckleheads over there that like to throw down and scrap, and he gets around. I had a heavyweight of his I was trying to get on the card, which good guy. And he likes to travel. He likes to get his boys fights. And so Joseph's ready to go. He won his first fight. He fought on Muckleshoot, I don't know, earlier in the year, 6, 7 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. Andrew Jeffries out of Bellingham MMA trains with Hunter Claggett. Hunter Claggett is cut from Landon Showalter and Charlie's Combat Club. Charlie Pearson
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
was a student and a fighter, a good grappler. He's got a good little thing going up in Bellingham. Him and his wife Laura, and they got a good little group of guys. They're doing a lot of grappling and pancreation, and so they put Andrew on the card. That should be a good fight. I don't know much about either of the guys other than looks like it's lagging a little bit again. Like I said, and I've heard you repeat on the live stream. It's about the relationships that I set up with the gyms that I know are
Yeah.
going to give good, reliable people.
Yeah,
And
yeah, of
then
course.
Zero Sum Martial Arts, Coach Tony. He won't even be there because he's got a bunch of guys competing all over and doing a tournament that day or whatever. But Nate Brown, tough little 155 pounder, and Diaz Combat Sports. I just know they're coming in rough
Take
riding,
him
ready to go.
I talked to Keys yesterday and I was telling him what you were just saying. Like, we get a lot of schools we don't know. And I was telling him the first time Ed and I were calling, and I couldn't remember who the first fighter from that school was, but we were like, hey, we don't know much about them, but they're from Canada. But from the first time that dude stepped in to now, when we see the name, we know like, oh, these dudes are coming to fight. Even if we don't know the name, we know the school, they're coming to fight.
DCS is legit. Diaz Combat Sports, Ryan Diaz. I actually refereed Coach Ryan Diaz versus Charlie Pearson in the first ever legally held sanctioned event at the Lucky Eagle Casino in Washington. I was the guy that refereed the first fight. Charlie Pearson fought Ryan Diaz for the North American, I think, Pancration title. I think Matt
Nice.
Hume and Eric Weissman put that show on. And that's when I was repping back in the day. But they came up as fighters and they're gym owners. They both put people in the UFC and won. And two phenomenal guys, two trailblazers in the Pacific Northwest, Charlie Pearson, Ryan Diaz. If you see C3 on the docket or DCS, you know you're in for it. The
Dude.
guys are well-rounded, in shape, ready to rock and roll. They got some depth, and I love working with guys like that. And I'm grateful to have a friendship with both of those guys. They're
And
really
those are the type of things that Ed and I talk about on the show is gyms like that. Like when Ed and I talk on guys, like you were just saying, the Trailblazers, they're not letting a fighter go in there with their name on their back without going in knowing how to fight, how to do it. Like they're not just going to be like, oh yeah, get my name out there. Like there's a reason they're being like, yep, let's go because they've been
yeah,
there, they've trained, they want their guys.
yeah, they're not letting guys fight, just throwing them in. They have an established like protocol, right? They're not just throwing guys in. And the guys that kind of earn their way to the fight team to compete have earned it by training with guys like Case. It's Case Hoosman. It's pronounced Case.
Oh, is
Did
it?
you
Oh,
tell
my
you?
bad.
I think I thought it was Keys too, but um, the way I heard it, I think it's Case. Case like the
Normally when
pizza.
I can't, I think I know you've probably heard me last. When I can't pronounce the name, I don't even try. I just leave it up to Garrett.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
So
our
yeah,
next one, our third fight.
Josh Webley, West Coast Fight Club, Bellingham MMA, fighting, excuse me, one of my kids, Chevy Walker. Chevy's had one smoker in kickboxing. Really athletic kid, personal trainer, trained some football teams over at a local high school. Very athletic, picks things up naturally. He's been with me about a year and a half. Competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament and had one smoker, and he's getting beat up by Neek and Leighton all the time, kind of like, we're just establishing our own protocol. Like, hey, you're going to be on the fight team. This is the grind.
Yeah, these are the
So
guys to join.
we've been putting in a good camp. I expect Chevy to do well. I don't know much about Josh. I know their coach, Kane Spalding, up at West Coast Fight Club in Bellingham. Good guy. Got a nice facility. He's got a teammate on the show, Mike McCauley, who's fighting pro at 170. And I just kind of paired those two up. They were both like 0-0 in MMA, so it seemed like a good fit. Then we got Caleb Wheeler back at 155. He's
Yes, we do.
made it through some injuries. And he's fighting a kid named Jerry Castillo out of Medina MMA. That is this little wrestling club over in Ellensburg, Washington. He's a tough wrestler. I've been trying to get him matched up, honestly, all year, and it's just hit and miss. I was trying to get him matched up on Tulalip at the beginning of the year. And the guy, I don't remember what happened, but, some guy pulled out or got injured or something. And so he's hungry. And then he took a little break over the summer. That's what it was, because they were out of school and they weren't there. But this kid, a good team around him. So again, it's not like I go on YouTube and watch these guys fight and go, oh, this would be a great matchup. It's more just dealing with the teams. Brandon Medina, good guy. He's got a small little crew over in Ellensburg. And Tony and his wife that run Zero Sum Martial Arts with Jaden Bundy, who's a experienced fighter, fought for me a few times. Now pretty much just a coach there. They're a good, solid crew.
Caleb Wheeler coming off of his first round knockout, and he was the opening fight of that card. He had some heat behind him, and as you said, he got injured. I know he at least got engaged, but I think he has since gotten married. So both of these guys having stepped away, but then now coming back and having this heat behind him, that fight's going to be a banger.
Caleb is a banger, man. He's a big 55er. He's a tremendous athlete. He's got power. He's pretty inexperienced, really. Hopefully marriage didn't soften him up. You know what I mean? Like you get married, wife starts cooking and you go a little soft sometimes. So who knows? But I know he's got a good team, and I expect him to do well. And, I almost talked to Eduardo Chavez about, he went back to 45, but he wants to beat Caleb up for But the Chavez brothers are a whole deal. We'll talk about them later because they're on the next upcoming card. But that might be a fight that we just do at a catch somewhere, but we'll see.
We need that fight to happen.
Yeah. And then we got Rodrigo Teixeira out of Kaiju Kickboxing versus Jan Perovic from Diaz Combat Sports. They're both like Jan is 0-1. I think Rodrigo's 0-0 or 1-0. Two good gyms going at it. I expect that to be a banger. And then holding down the last amateur fight card of the night is Josiah Smith. He's fought for us before at Clearwater. He used to train at Kitsap Combat over with Joe Cleary, but he moved up north to Bellingham. I think he's going to school up there. And then I got a teammate of Sean Kalinowski from Impact Jiu-Jitsu in Hillsboro, Oregon. Trains with Marcus Daniels as the coach there. DeAnthony Goodrum filled that spot. That's what I said to you the other day. There's a change, but I don't think I changed it so fast. I don't think you noticed it coming out of the gate. But I got 6 pros, and then we got or 6 amateurs, excuse me, and then we're going into the pro fights where we got Tyrell Pless from ATT Portland. You don't really need to say anything more than like ATT Portland. Tyrell's going to be well trained against a kid named Johnson Nasana, Black Lightning. Good
Lightning
kid. I think he's a Marcelo Alonso black belt now. Which Marcelo Alonso, trailblazer in the Pacific Northwest, basically brought jiu-jitsu to the Seattle, Puget Sound area. Johnson had an amazing amateur career. I think it was like 13-1, bunch of wins, and has really struggled as a pro. And he's struggled and took some time off. Good kid. Yeah, Johnson's got a good career, so he's not fighting to like make it to the big show. He's just fighting because he loves to fight. And he's looking to get some wins. He's way better than his record. He's 0-3 as a pro, and he's good. He just hasn't figured out how to put it together. And he's looking to put it together with Coach Stanley Pham at 10 Kicks in Seattle, who's a good guy. He's got a good team around him. And, sometimes these guys are trying to gel and find a coach that helps them grow in the way they need, so they bounce around a little bit. He's bounced around.
The next fight was a late ad, but it looks like it's going to be a great fight. The Mike McCauley one?
Yeah, I mean, that one wasn't I would try to line that up for a while. It was just tough to find another 170 out there with the right record. Mike is 1-0, fought on the last show.
Jay White, their rematch.
Yeah. Jay Wright amateur rematch. That was a good fight. Mike is long and lanky and uses his length well, and he's good on the ground. And he's got good striking. And Hunter Clennon trains with Josh Johnsey up at WKX Pinnacle MMA up in Canada. He's a good guy. Josh is a good guy. He's got some tough guys over there, similar to Diaz. I don't know if he's quite as deep as DCS, but I expect that to be a banger. And Hunter just had his last amateur fight, I don't know, a month ago. And then I think we figured that out kind of late. But it was on the burner. I just couldn't. It took me a while to lock it up.
Nice.
But that should be good. Then we got a school that I haven't worked with in a while, Free Wind MMA out of Moses Lake, Julian Adame, who's a very nice young man, very professional, handled his business all with me really well against, Royal MMA's Nicasio Ortiz. And that should be a banger.
Nicasio is one of those guys. There's people in this world that whatever generation, you go back 300 years, 1,000 years, there's people in this world that were born to be warriors. Yeah. And there's no doubt that gene is in their blood. Nicasio is one of those guys. I don't care what time frame you go in, that dude is in battle.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Here, I agree with that statement about Nicasio. He is 100% warrior, and it's in his DNA, and he brings the fight. He's very entertaining to watch. We've been working on some new stuff with him, some clinch work, and I brought in a new coach to help with the team and develop some areas that I felt Nicasio and our team needed to work on as a whole. So I'm really excited to see if we can see that in combat. And then we got Dakota Benson. He fought at the Silver Reef last show. He lost to Tristan Lindy. He's back to fight Austin Daffron, who's a world-class grappler in combat jiu-jitsu, also trains at 10 Kicks and has his own gym, Definitive Jiu-Jitsu. That should be a good match. And I think that's a rematch of way back in the day at the amateur level. And then Scrappy Sean Kalinowski, man, one of my favorite fighters. I freaking love that kid. He's tough as nails. Um, Lives up to his nickname, Scrappy.
Yep.
Throwing submissions at you from all angles, punches at you from all angles. He's good, but Case is a sniper, man. And if Sean doesn't tuck his chin and be careful, I see it ending. Sean could be in trouble. He needs to be careful with Case because Case
Yes,
is
but yes, but that last fight with Sean, he took some hits and was still in it. And so it like the thing with Sean, and I agree with you. I think this is fight of the night. I don't want anything to happen to our heavyweight when you told me about it. But when I saw the card and I was like, okay, if the heavyweight doesn't have it, this could be a main event. I think this will be fight of the night. Sean, they say fighters fight in the pocket. Sean is a guy that fights out of pocket because you don't know what's coming at you, what's happening. He's on the ground and he had that dude in that armbar that was the sickest thing I saw. The dude he was fighting was way too stubborn to tap. That fight just back and forth going. And then when you get to Keys, again, you don't know what you're getting. It can be a knee, a head. He gets you against the cage. He's going to beat your face in, and he's ready to go. And both these guys don't mind taking a shot to give a shot. I think this fight's going to be great.
Yeah, so I agree with you. This is going to be an absolute banger of a fight. The one thing I will say is Case has got his back taken in every fight. Yeah, Mason Von Thomas caught him as an amateur. Benjamin Wada caught him and put him in a little bit of trouble in the grappling. And Sean is a very skilled, high-level, scrappy, unorthodox grappler. So it's going to be back and forth. It's going to be wild.
It's going to be great.
I agree. It's going to be the fight of the night, potentially.
And now we get what?
We're back to the heavyweights. Anthony Hamilton, basically called me, reached out to me. And I told you this a while ago. We tried to put it together. Then it got delayed. But Jordan Curry is the one guy in the Pacific Northwest that Anthony has wanted to fight. That fight's been canceled and postponed before many years ago, 3-4 years ago. It was going to happen. It didn't happen. That's just the one guy on the list that in the Pacific Northwest rankings that Anthony wants to beat, that hasn't beaten, that thinks he can beat. And they don't necessarily dislike each other, but there's mutual respect there, but they both think they're going to win, and they clearly both think they're better than the other guy, and so they're going to try and prove that on Saturday night, November 2nd.
That's going to be so good. So good.
Jordan's on a 5-fight win streak. He just won a King of the Cage world title. Anthony hasn't fought since he fought for us on the summer show a year and a half ago. He's not getting any younger, so it's the Tom Brady of MMA in the Pacific Northwest, versus the young up-and-comer.
I think one good factor of this is we know Hamilton. He's the big, fast heavyweight. He's going to pull you down. He's going to grind you out, and he's either going to beat your head in until it's over, or he's going to grind you out till it's over. But the problem is, I think all but one of Jordan's wins come from submission on the ground. So he's perfectly comfortable on the ground. So that's where it's going to get tricky.
Yeah, he's not scared to go there, and I think he's going to be prepared to sprawl and stay on his feet and throw his hands too. So it should be good. Jordan trains with Trevor Prangley over at AKA in Coeur d'Alene, and they got a good team over there, a bunch of tough country boys over in the Spokane area vicinity. And Trevor Prangley is an old school. I think he might have made it to the UFC at one point, but he's another trailblazer in the Pacific Northwest. Ivan Salaberry, Trevor Prangley, Ed Herman, all those guys came up when I was refereeing back in the day, and got in the UFC in the early era.
Yep,
he's won UFC. So it's gonna be a banger. We got a heavyweight banger. We got a bantamweight co-main event that is going to be very exciting. Austin and Dakota do not like each other, and that's a rematch that's going to happen. I expect Nicasio to do well, and Julian Adame is, he's kind of an unknown. He's got a tough. He comes from a smaller little school in Moses Lake. Sometimes those guys struggle to have good training partners. You can be really good, but you don't have a lot of bodies to work with. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't really know anything about them other than he's been a true professional to deal with and very pleasant. And got me all my pictures and information and tail of the tape when I need it, like a champ, which I can't say for everybody.
Man, it just feels good to be back. November 2nd, Coga Combat Games. There's a few tickets left. Get them at Coga.tv, the live stream Coga.tv. It's going to be awesome.
Once again, the show is presented by Combat Games MMA.